Mike, your other computer is a 93 F150 5.8. It's a A2Z2 calibration. It's also the same computer. It's a speed density computer from the same era. Basically the same board as that other one you sent me. This one is not in as good a shape. It has never seen a chip. Interesting, there's a lot more peanut butter on this one than there was the last. It has the original teal blue capacitors, and they are leaking quite a bit on this one. So let me see if I can zoom in and show you. This is why we want to get rid of capacitors, not because they're not working, but just simply because of age. The quicker we can get them out of these computers and replaced, the less likely you're going to end up with this. The acid leaks out of these things and corrodes the board, for those of you who don't know. And it can end up doing stuff like that. Look at there, that's a perfect example. The acid has eaten through that trace right there, I think so. Maybe through all three of those traces. We'll have to clean them up and see what's left of them, but yeah, there's some major damage going on there. There's another trace over here that's really black and looks pretty tore up. This one's in rough shape. I hope it cleans up okay. On the other side of this first capacitor, more carnage. Sorry about the shaky light. Or the shaky camera work, I mean. That one is really puked. There's a lot of little traces that have been affected there. We'll see how this one goes. You never really know until you get the old capacitors off, get the board cleaned up, and see what's left of all those little highways. But this one looks like it might be a bit of an uphill battle. It's got a lot of damage, and we'll just have to see how bad that damage is. The bottom side, you can see that that thing's puked its guts, and it's leaking all over these other components. That's going to require some hard work to fix up. Every pad that these things solder to should be bright silver, like kind of like these guys are. And when you see it starting to leak and get onto it, it starts to turn it kind of coffee or syrup colored at first. And then after a while, it ends up looking like this guy, just absolutely destroyed. You can't even see any silver left on that pad. That's pretty aggressive stuff. The other side is not as bad looking, but see the brown stain there? That's the beginning of some of the capacitor fluid leaking, and then after a while it just turns into this nasty black destruction. So that's pretty bad. And then here's the third one. Equally bad. You can see it's really corroded the chip leg quite a bit there on that one. And of course, destroyed everything underneath this capacitor pretty much. Getting towards that other one too. Yep, that's really bad. And there's some small traces on the back side there. Let's see if we can get a better look at those. That's the stuff we're worried about right there. If it eats those traces, we gotta, like little highways, you gotta rebuild them, make the roads connect again. And the more damage that's done, the harder it becomes to be able to do that. If they're small, you can do a little solder bridge or something, but if they're big, you gotta lay out some new wire or some new pathways or glue down some new copper traces or something. But it's major repair work. This one's by far a lot worse than the other one, Mike. I don't know if this one's going to be repairable or not, but we'll give it our level best. Unfortunately, it's not a good choice to say, oh, let me just go get a reman or find a used one or whatever, because they're just going to be in the same boat. These capacitors, think about them like AA batteries that are in a remote control that's been in the drawer for 25 years. It's not the batteries being dead that we're worried about. It's the damage that they did by leaking. These capacitors have the same stuff in them. They do the same thing, and they make a same mess to the electronics. In fact, a lot worse, because at least with a battery, you just kind of got a spring and a pad to deal with. With electronics, you got all kinds of components that are not supposed to get this stuff on them. So we got to get them out of there, get the board cleaned up, neutralize the acid so it doesn't continue to eat even after you repair the capacitors, and then see how bad it is and if it's fixable. And if it is, we'll have to do quite a bit of trace work on this one. In fact, there may be additional labor on this one, because all three of them are quite bad. We'll see. Let me get it apart and get it cleaned up and see how bad it really is. Now on to the basic bench testing. As you know, this is power, this is check engine light, and this is fuel pump control, basically the fuel pump relay, and this is the 5-volt regulator. So I'm always shocked to see when you have a computer that's in this bad a shape that it still functions. It may not function correctly, might run like crap or something like that, but it's doing things it's supposed to do. We turn on the key, the check engine light should come on and stay on. The fuel pump should run for 1 second exactly when you turn it on, and it does. And 5-volt regulator. It always surprises me just how bad a computer can be and yet still pass this basic bench testing. So just because it tests good on this little bench tester of mine that I built, it doesn't mean the computer's functioning right in the car. Mostly this thing's going to tell us if it works at all or not, and maybe the condition of the 5-volt regulator. But I'm kind of always surprised to see just how bad one can be and still kind of function. But this thing is definitely going to have caused problems in the car, probably some pretty good problems if I had to guess. I think this thing would run really poorly in a variety of different ways when they're this bad. So I don't know how good of a candidate this is. If you can find another A2Z2, feel free. But it's not easy to find these OBD1 EC4 Ford computers. They're already past the junkyard age, and so often our best bet, even if it's a little rough like this one, is to try our best to salvage and repair these original boards. And whenever you buy a reman, you lose all this data too. If you ever do buy a reman, make sure you get all that data and write it down on the owner's manual or something. But we don't want to lose that, because once you lose this, you never can know what the original computer was again. It's not always marked on the car. In fact, it's rarely marked on the car on these older ones. So if we don't know what it is and we have to replace it in the future, it's a problem. But that's another reason to try to keep these original computers that have the original sticker on them. So if we ever have to replace it, we got a better idea of what exact computer we need. They're not all the same. Okay, that's enough from me. I will get these things apart and see what we have left. If this one becomes a judgment call, maybe we can talk about that or have a look at the traces and see just how bad they are. But this one leaked a lot. I'm not as confident with this 93 F150 computer as I am with the other 92 F250 computer that you sent me. So I'll be in touch.